Today is a chapter in a story, and it's an epic love story. And it is a story of God's grace and redemption manifested in our family.
Zach, you told me this. You said that you felt like God told you to go and talk to Kaylin. And through that conversation, I don't really know all the details of how it happened, but you guys told me this, that this was the first time that you guys felt like you were in a healthy place, that you felt like you loved yourself enough to be ready to have a healthy relationship with someone else.
It's so hard to imagine that I'd be standing next to the woman who captured my heart 6 years ago.
Somehow, in some way, we ended up here together. I'm so glad we did.
You see, every great story written follows a specific storyline. There is a character, the protagonist, who meets a villain who needs a guide to help them navigate through this.
Kaylin truly is a person I aspire to be more like. She lives with a genuine gratitude, not for just her own life, but for the people in it. She has compassion for others, is one of the most hilarious, I think the most hilarious person I've ever met. People always refer to Kaylin as she's the funny sister. I'm like, so I'm trying. Thank you guys for laughing at my jokes. It means a lot. Be funny too.
You know, when I was going to sleep last night, I was thinking about where our journeys began together. And I've known Zach longer than I've known Kaylin. And I remember, you know, very early on when I met you, Zach, I watched you and saw the way that you carried yourself and the things that you were doing with your life. And I knew that you were going to be a success story. And it's been awesome to be by your side and get to do the things with you that have led to where you are today.
Interesting though, I was friends with Kaylin and I was friends with Zach, but Kaylin and Zach, nothing. They didn't really like each other at first at all.
The thing that I love is, Zachary, you knew something about Kaylin, and you kind of kept her a little bit away in that time because you knew that she was in her first year of sobriety.
But our story, our epic family love story, our villain and our challenge was what you heard about today during the ceremony. It was a disease that we don't like to talk about, that we all kind of know about, and it showed up in our family.
I remember asking Zach not too long ago about those days and whether or not he liked Kaylin, and he said, I always thought that she was beautiful, but I didn't really know her, and I didn't know if she would stay sober. By Zach answering the way that he did, I realized he was keeping Kaylin's best interest at heart before even knowing her. And that is exactly the type of man I want marrying my husband.
Where's the little girl who was watching your mom and I get married?
Right here.
What happened?
Today we celebrate the two lives who were incredibly broken and had a moment where they realized they had to make a change, and they did. We celebrate 1,900 days of sobriety for Kaylin and 2,084 days of sobriety for Zach. I think we just got to stop a second. We got to celebrate that together, y'all. 'Cause that's... I'm proud of y'all.
so, in this epic love story, there has to be a hero. And so, Zach, you walk into this epic love story of my family. Zach, I prayed for you, and you are who God has brought, and I'm grateful.
It's beyond words to describe how much I love you and just what you mean to me. You're the woman who I feel God placed in my life just at the right moment. He knew my eyes would finally be open to see you in your heart. I knew in that moment my life would have been incomplete without having you by my side as my wife.
God's timing is always perfect. We had to find ourselves before finding each other. I don't think we would be here today if it weren't for our own recoveries, restored families, forgiving friends, and most of all, the undeserving grace which God gives freely to us each day.
You know, Kaylin, I choose to love you unconditionally and care for you in the best of times and the worst. To always be there for you, standing by your side no matter what the circumstances. As life goes on, I'll be there by your side to learn and to grow with you, and respect you and admire you for the beautiful woman that God placed in front of me.
Thank you for choosing to love me despite my flaws and my imperfections. I will live in truth with you and communicate fully and fearlessly. I will nurture your dreams and remain open-minded to what's important to you.
I vow to grow with you spiritually, emotionally, and physically. Whatever may come, good or bad, I'll always be there by your side.
I choose you, Zach, to stand by your side and wake up choosing you every morning. This is the happiest day of my life, and I'm so proud to take you as my husband.
I'll honor you from this day forward into our lives by always keeping God first in our lives. I'll cherish you and inspire you, encourage you, and above all, love you with all my heart and soul for as long as we both shall live.
Friends, family, loved ones, it's my privilege to present to you for the very first time Mr. and Mrs. Zachary Watkins.